welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. We got quite a lot done on the farm this week. I think it was a combination of some lovely weather, and we were all home and not a lot of other commitments. So there was an opportunity to get out early in the day and get going and get things done outside. At the beginning of the week, we worked on some internal fencing, which is then going to allow us to repair the boundary fence in the One Tree Hill paddock, the one large paddock that still has some of the really old fences that my pa did and that are now in disrepair. So we're working on this internal paddock. We're able to secure in the current horses that we have, and also any new potential farm pets that we might be getting. And then from there, we are able to then rip out the boundary fence, knowing that that little internal paddock is going to be 100% secure. So we're putting a couple of electrical wires through it, as well as 4 standard wires, to make sure that it will be suitable for horses and cows and any other animals that we might choose to put in that paddock. So over 2 days, we were able to put in all of the posts for this paddock, and we wired about half of it, including putting in all of the droppers that go in between the wooden posts. So we've made quite a lot of progress, and what we've now done is ordered enough supplies to do the boundary. We have a special wire reel, so it makes it a lot easier to pull the wire out along a long section and not have to get all tangled up. So we'll be able to set up a bit of a kit on the back of the Rodeo that has all of the things that we need for the fencing job, and then we'll be able to get out early mornings before it gets hot and just tackle a little section at a time, and hopefully over a month or so we'll be able to complete all of the fencing in this paddock. Also this week, the second batch of shed materials arrived. So now we have sliding doors and windows and roller doors. So that's everything now that is required to build the shed. And the last couple of days, the concreter contractor has been in, and they are flattening out the ground. It didn't need a lot of flattening. It just needed to be squared off and planned out exactly where the slab was going to go and make sure that it is 100% flat. And then they will box it out and put in the metal that reinforces the concrete. And then the concrete should be poured next week. Then, all things going to plan, the build will happen the week after that. I have finally finished my Lamina wrap by Amber O'Brien. I'm so pleased with how this came out. I absolutely love it. I made it from mini skeins of my Wonka colorway, as well as a skein of Nevermore by Dyed by Hand yarn. And I think it came out really, really amazing. I can't show it all because it is really huge. So last time I spoke about this, I was having some trouble and I had to do some maths because I'd miscalculated how many repeats I could do of the lace pattern based on how much yarn that I had. So I worked that out and ripped back so that I could make the pattern make sense and be consistent across it with the mini skein colors. So this is the end that I finished up with. You can see the purple is You're Turning Violet Violet. The one in between here, in between each of the colours, is Pure Imagination. This is Snozberries. Millions of Tiny Pieces. To the Fudge Room. Golden Ticket. And then it's back to the double purples and the doubles all the way through to the end. So something that I did which was not in the pattern was that I picked up and bound off one row along each of the sides in the Pure Imagination colorway. I just think that it just pulled it together a little bit and added some structure around the side, especially in the lace sections where the eyelets were right by the edge. And it also helped to hide the ends along the side where all of the coloured ends were. So it's made it nice and neat along both sides. So this has been blocked, it's finished, I love it. After the video I shot about washing and storing my knitwear, I decided that it might be useful if I also did a video on blocking as well. So while I was blocking this shawl, I also recorded some footage of how I block my knitwear. You block a garment so that it shows off the lace work and creates the correct shape for the piece that you've just knitted. So this is sort of on the bias, so you get the angle right when you block, and you also pull it so that your garter stitches open up a little bit, and also so that your lace work all lines up and you get those lovely holes in your knitting where they're supposed to go. Sometimes when you're knitting lace it kind of scrunches up and it doesn't really show through properly until you give it a proper block, and then you really get that beautiful pattern coming through. So I'm in the process of editing that video at the moment, and when it's available I will pop it up as a separate video so that if you have any interest in finding out how to block your own knitwear, you can at least see how I do it for myself. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.